Who's there?
This is Nintendo. Open up. Sir, it is believed you're in possession of illegal contraband. We're gonna search the premises.
Who me? No. I love the new design. I gotta get out of here. Where is it? Where is it? I hope this still works. This is coming with me. Oh. I still got it. Catrilla's gonna live to fight another day. Say, where'd this pad go anyway? Donkey Kong has been redesigned for the new Mario Kart, and the congregation is not happy. Maybe it's too soon to get bent out of shape about this, though. Before DK showed up, I thought I was looking at Mario Kart 8 for a second. The character animation always looked good in these games, but when they're just driving straight, they look kind of empty. Speaking of DK, do you remember what he looked like in Mario Kart 8? Look at the proportions of his arms. Look at the expression. Is he going to eat her? They're apparently leaning into what has worked before, which... yeah, that checks out. There's a pretty large contingent saying that this is movie Donkey Kong, but I don't really believe this is the case. Sure, they look similar, but this shift in how DK looks is years in the making. Looking back on that Mario movie direct, I think Miyamoto was telling us a lot more than we realized at the time. He said, "We've also changed the design for the first time since he became a 3D model in the original Donkey Kong Country game." Now, at first glance, you might assume that this was for the movie. If you look at the concept art Nintendo gave to Illumination, you can see how they were playing with the brow and general proportions of DK. He's a little more soft and rounded here too. So when people say that this is movie Donkey Kong, you have to ask, where did movie Donkey Kong come from? Shigehisa Nakawe did these drawings, and he's been working with Nintendo since the days of Donkey Kong King of Swing. If that wasn't enough of a curveball, what if I told you that this redesign of DK has been in the making for years before the Mario movie? Check out this emoji sticker from the year 2018. You might be thinking, what's the big deal here? But Donkey Kong's brow shape has been stiff as stone for decades. They didn't even let it move much in the TV show, but here it is, years before the movie was even concepted. Now this is very curious timing. About 2 years after things fell apart with Donkey Kong Freedom. Allegedly, production for the franchise moved to internal Nintendo teams, so this would also kind of line up with whatever concept work they would be doing at the time for the next game. This also coincides with the choice to split Donkey Kong licensing for Mario around the same time. DK used to fit under the Mario brand, but now he's in his own little pocket, his own country, if you will. It would seem this DK touch-up has a lot more to do with Nintendo taking the character back to their headquarters than it does trying to line up with movie promotions. It's like they finally had the time to polish the character the way that they wanted to in the internal Nintendo teams. Speaking of Donkey Kong merchandise, they're rewriting history before our eyes. It seems like some minor adjustments at first, but there are certain poses and facial expressions that look like a pretty drastic change, like they're trying to make him look cute. If I'm being more charitable though, I would say they're mashing the rare design together with DK94, taking the best of both designs. Kevin Bayliss, the original designer for the country iteration of Donkey Kong, has been really modest about this change, saying his eyebrows limited his range of expression. I can totally see where he's coming from, and I do think they should play around with it a little bit, but there's a lot more to expression than eyebrows. In the brief Smash Ultimate trailers, we see surprise, anticipation, awe, we see joy. He's goofy, but it also feels like you can take him seriously. Kevin should give himself more credit. It totally works. There are plenty of poses and renders that show a more jolly DK. It's just that his body language is doing a lot of the talking, which, makes sense for an animal that can't speak in most games. Now all that being said, I think the reason they keep gradually making DK into a more cartoony character is because of the general lack of power in Nintendo systems these days. It's easier to make DK live up to the euphemistic nature of those original renders when you have the budget of these Smash trailers. Nintendo used to be on the cutting edge of graphics, but those days are long gone, and Donkey Kong has never been quite the same since. So is this the next iteration of Donkey Kong? Should we lower the old one into a tomb next to DK94 and Donkey Kong Jr.? Let's look at the context for a second. Remember what I was saying about the illustrations being slowly changed since 2018? That would line up with the concepting phase for whatever DK game is being worked on at Nintendo, and would give them plenty of time to plan things out for the movie. But what about the theme park? Literally a month before this Mario Kart snippet, they launched an entire theme park with the rare design. We have renders, we have animatronics, we have Donkey Kong himself, and there is not an eyebrow adjustment in sight. I've heard some people speculate that Nintendo's gonna go in and replace everything with the new branding inside of the theme park, which sounds absolutely nutty to me. Nintendo's crazy and all, but I don't think they're going to rip out multiple animatronics inside of the ride that they just launched. All for what? That they wouldn't spoil the grand unveiling of the new Donkey Kong inside of a 5-second clip of off-screen Mario Kart footage? They couldn't coordinate the launch window of the new DK with the park? Remember, this is literally the same company that Nintendo was making the movie with, so if Rogan Kong was going to be the future of the brand, you would think they would have something resembling that in the park. And never mind that. They want to debut the new future Donkey Kong on the same day they launched Donkey Kong Country Returns, the game that the whole theme park is based off of? What's interesting is that Donkey Kong's design wasn't altered for any of the new games he's appeared in since 2018 or the movie, including Mario vs. Donkey Kong, where it honestly would have made sense for the redesign to be used. If there was any game that was made to coincide with the release of the movie, it was this one. Now there's 3 possibilities here. 1, Nintendo's gaslighting Donkey Kong fans. Always a possibility. 2, there's going to be multiple designs for Donkey Kong going forward based on the game that he's in. And number 3, he just looks kind of weird in Mario Kart. I was saying before that Nintendo hasn't competed on graphics in a long time. It's even harder now because they're making handhelds while Microsoft and Sony are making these gigantic routers. You can't fit very many graphics inside of these little things. Couple that with the slowing pace of graphical advancement in general, and we don't have much of a visual upgrade from Switch 1 to Switch 2. That brings a bit of a problem to games like Mario Kart and Smash that are going to be backwards compatible. When Nintendo can't compete on raw power, they lean into style. Smash for Wii U is a good-looking game, but Ultimate makes it feel archaic through its presentation. Similarly, you look at Mario Kart 8 and see a great-looking game, but one that feels a little static. Compare Mario's with me. His mustache multiplied in size between kart racers. The new look sports more cartoony proportions as well. Everyone here is looking a little more rotund and squishy. I mean, look at these wheels. Bowser is more hunched over, Luigi looks less angry, you can see more fluidity in the animation as well. Now you can only go so far in a kart racer, as a lot of your graphical budget goes to the track, how many models are on screen, and so on and so forth. So this isn't going to be the best showcase for character models. DK definitely looks off in this trailer, but until we see a little more of him in his other games, I think it's a bit soon to put the Bayless DK down to rest. I think they're going to play around with DK's brow and his general proportions, and honestly that's fine. Some of the recent renders have looked great, and more than anything, I'm just glad they're doing literally anything with the character. If I could walk into the toy section of a Target and not see this DK from 2010, I'll be happy. We know what DK looks like in Universal, we know what he's going to look like in Mario Kart, but what's he going to look like in his next game? Join me next time as we try to read the tea leaves and speculate on what we're getting for Donkey Kong's outing on Switch 2.